Behind me is my brand new 2019 Ford Mustang EcoBoost. I bought the car about 2 months ago. It has close to 1,000 miles. In this video, I'm going to talk about the good and the bad of this car. I absolutely love Mustangs. Look in my garage right now. You can see a 83 GLX Mustang, which I've done videos on, and you can see my 98 Mustang GT. Absolutely love them. And the other car that you can't see right now is my 2008 Mustang. I've given it to my daughter for college. But in this video, I'm going to go do the good, the bad, and the ugly of the 2019 GT. Again, the reason I bought this Mustang is it was $23,000, and it is a base model, and the only options on this thing is the rear or the spare tire in the back. And I got the 10-speed automatic, which I'm going to make some comments on that. I'm not a big fan of it, but overall, I absolutely love the car. I love the styling of the car. I love everything about the car. But the big reason I didn't spend the money on anything but a base model is as soon as you go up to the premium edition of a EcoBoost, you're now at the same price as a base GT. I did not want to tie all my money up in a very expensive new car. I plan on buying more of older cars, and for me, it just didn't make sense for me to spend $35,000 on a car when I could get a base for $23,000. So I'll go through the good, the bad, and the ugly of the car, and I'll do an audio commentary on it. But again, I love Mustangs, love this car, even with the quirks I'm going to point out on it and some of the issues with it. Highly recommend it. It gets great gas mileage, and it's a fun daily driver. When you get a base model Mustang, they don't cut corners on it. It's just a beautiful car. I love the change in 2018, and that's one of the reasons I waited till 2019 to buy a new car. When I called the dealer, I only wanted a few things. I asked that the car be racer red and the car have a 10-speed automatic transmission. Since I was driving this car daily, I really didn't want a car that I had to manually shift. I just didn't want to deal with that. I do stop and go traffic. I drive about 45 minutes each way. So for me, I didn't want a manual on this. Now, I absolutely love the chin spoiler on the brand new Mustang. It's just an awesome look. It's got a mean, aggressive look on it. And again, I just think it's a beautiful car, especially when you get all this on a base model car. Now, one of the good things on this car is the trunk space. It's got over 13 square feet of trunk space. My wife is picky when it comes to my cars, and she told me it had to be able to fit groceries at a grocery store. The other thing, if you look, one of the, I think, bad things about the Mustang, they have not changed the shock system on the trunk since all the way back to the SN95. I wouldn't be surprised if I could pull these shocks off my SN95 and they would fit. My wife even thinks that it's a little cheap. She thought the trunk felt cheap and how it's shut, and when it opens, the fact that it doesn't open all the way up, she did not like that. I'm neither here or there on that, but that was just her view on it. One of the cool things about this car is you do get dual exhaust with the base model, which in my opinion is really cool. That little piece of plastic broke off when I bought the car, so that is definitely one of the bad items on this car. Now, as far as the interior of the car, it's just a cloth interior, nothing special. Actually, with the double stitching they put on the seat for a base model car, for a $23,000 car, I was impressed. Usually, I don't like cloth cars. I usually prefer leather. But when I sat in this car, I felt the quality felt good. Obviously, the base model comes with a standard steering wheel. Again, nothing special about that. One of the cool items on the car is that there's a little sunglass holder there on the side. I thought it was pretty cool that you didn't have to put your shades in the console. The other thing that was interesting about the glove box is they put a little hidden area where you can put your manual. Now, some of the people in Texas say it's a great place to hide your weapon or something, but I just use it to hide the manual. So it's a little hidden passageway, I guess. Now, if you look at the dash, the carbon sort of fiber look on it is great. Much better than the 2015 through the 2017 models. There's lots of space in the console on this car. My only complaint was I think there should have been more USB ports to plug things in and charge them. Otherwise, it's a really cheap looking plastic interior, but what you would expect for a $23,000 car. One of the bad items on this car is the latch to push up the seat from the back seat. When I bought this car, they didn't work. I ended up having to spend several hours just moving them up and down, and then they finally release and the seat would push forward. The other thing I don't like about that latch is it only pushes the seat forward. To me, it should release the whole entire seat and push the whole entire seat forward. There's not enough space for someone to get out of the back seat. The rear end of this car is just small. It's as small as my SN95, nowhere close to the room in the back as the S197. So I would call that a bad item on this car. Now, the door locks on this car are really cool for a base car. All you do is use the thumb lock to lock it and then put your hand in through the handle to unlock it. So for a base model car, it's a cool little thing. You never have to take your keys out of your pocket to unlock and lock the door. So I call that a great thing on this car. Again, the back seat's small, looks very cheap, but I'll give the break on this car because it is a base model car. I do think the double stitching on the charcoal interior does look good. The other item I will point out on this car is the black color gets dirty easy. I clean that stuff all the time, and it looks dirty as soon as you get it in the car. The car came with upgraded Hankook tires. I really liked them. Now, not all the cars on the lot had these tires, so I don't know if this was a upgrade you got with the 10-speed automatic. Looking at the engine here, let's just be honest. The four-cylinder looks pretty weak under the hood. I'm showing a picture or showing the video of this simply because, it's the typical engine with the plastic covers. There's nothing special about this engine, but it definitely, I don't care what anybody says, it doesn't look like a V8 hood. There's nothing impressive about this. It's not like you show off your engine all the time, but let's just call it what it is. It's a real base engine. It's a real base look, and it's a real cheap plastic look. But again, I don't show off my engine very much, so it's not a big deal. The lumbar, or the way you raise and lower the seats on this car is a lever. I don't know why they put this lever here. In the past, they put it other places. So in this video, I just started the car so you can see what it sounds like. The sequential lights are awesome on this car. The fact you get sequential lights on the base model rocks. The gas cap's cheap. I would call this a bad item. You don't need a cap on it, but the door is really cheap, and the fact it doesn't lock from the inside sucks. Here I am revving up the engine. I would call this the bad engine. The V8 would sound so much better, so no matter what you do, this car is going to sound like a four-cylinder. So there's not many options on a base package. The only options you get on the base package without getting the 102 package is you get the ability to change the steering from comfort to normal to I think it's track or racing, and you can change and turn off the traction control, and that's it. So as you can see, the console's very, very basic. The base model I got only comes with Sync 2, so there's no navigation system or anything like that. The gauges are really basic. I actually like this. I don't like the upgraded premium edition where it's just a big screen. I like the traditional cluster look on this car. Again, some people are gonna love it, some are gonna hate it, but I like the base view on this car. So the ugly item on this car is definitely the 10-speed automatic transmission. I have found that the car is very jerky at low speeds. Once the car is up and going at the, say, above 35, doesn't seem to be a problem, but at low speeds, the transmission is very jerky. I have never driven the 10-speed in the GT, and I don't know how to compare it. It could be a combination of the turbo leg with the 10-speed that's causing the problems. But my concern is that the transmission will not last the life of this car. Now, I could be wrong, but I have such a big concern that I'm buying an extended warranty up to 120,000 miles on the engine and the transmission. So If anybody has any feedback, I would love to hear their thoughts on that. If it's just the 10 speed with the EcoBoost that's a problem, or if they're also seeing these problems in the GT with the V8. One time I put the car in reverse and it literally lunged back. I've had a smaller instance of that happen again, but again, this is a car that's right now around 900 some odd miles on it. You wouldn't think it a car this new. Again, that's the only ugly thing on this car I really feel that I need to bring up. And but I still would not buy a car like this for daily driving, and I with a manual, I just wouldn't do it.